Hey there, and welcome to Live Operations, part of the IT Guy Show, episode, event, catastrophe number 9. Not sure what we'll call it. But unlike the traditional podcast, this is kind of a hands-on, Eric goofing around with technology kind of approach. And so I've been doing a few of these because, as you all know, my current contract is likely to expire in about 10 days. So so I've been out there job hunting, but this actually was not because of a job. This was because, or a potential job interview. But this time it's actually because I ran into these folks at Open Source Summit just a couple of weeks ago in Minneapolis. And as I talk and vamp, I'm going to mute my notifications here. Um, but I ran into a company called Vates, Vates. And I'd never heard of Vates before, but I had heard of the open source project that they were representing. And that's XCP-ng. Those some of you may be familiar with Xen virtualization. I think it was used by Cisco for quite some time. XCP is part of that same line of technology, but NG stands for next generation. So as a Star Trek nerd, TNG. But I guess this would be XNG. But um, so Vates, I found out in Minneapolis, is a French open source software company. It's been around since 2012. They build and maintain XCP-ng, which is a Type 1 Xen-based hypervisor. They also produce Xen Orchestra, which, if you're a VMware user or a Proxmox user, this would be the web-based console that kind of drives things, the orchestrator. And so I'd actually tried XCP-ng a couple of years ago, um, before I decided to go super minimal. I went from running RHEL as my hypervisor with virtual machines and Podman containers to let's go all in and try and run XCP-ng as a single node. And I remember a few years ago, it was really good. It was really nice. The web UI was a lot fresher than, say, Proxmox, miles less complicated than VMware. So then the whole Broadcom thing happened, and around the same time, I decided that I wanted to go super minimal in my home lab. So I switched from RHEL to Unraid, and from Unraid, now I'm back to Proxmox. But talking to the amazing folks over at Vates really got me excited, because XCP-ng was a great tool a couple of years ago. So I kind of wanted to poke at it and see how it was running, or what changes they've made. And my login to Proxmox timed out, so I'm kind of trying to talk about how awesome this was a few years ago. And it was great a few years ago, and so I'm kind of excited to poke at it and see what's changed. So now that I'm logged back in here, I'll pop over here, and so here's my Proxmox machine. It's not heavily utilized right now, which is great. Um, this is my Dell PowerEdge that I so badly want to retire. So we got plenty of CPU space. We got plenty of RAM, plenty of hard drive space, and CPU, server load, all that kind of stuff. Proxmox is great. It works fine. It's a very lightweight replacement for VMware. One of the things I like about it is that it is fairly intuitive, especially as a former VMware administrator. Much easier, much more intuitive than it used to be, or than VMware ever was. I kind of miss having folders because, as you can see, I've got templates, I've got dev machines, and I've got my production servers. I've got my Bastion host that I use to log in from Tailscale. So there's a lot in here that's nice. I do miss folders, but I'm also not wild about the fact that it's Debian under the hood. As my audience would know, I've been in enterprise Linux for almost 2 decades now. I guess a decade and a half, really. It's been about 15 years that I've been in enterprise Linux. Um, so currently, XCP-ng is based off of CentOS Linux, which, while that has been retired, uh, and CentOS 7 is now end of life, they're looking at alternatives, but are planning on keeping it on the enterprise Linux space. Um, okay, so I want to break a cardinal rule of systems administration today. I'm going to try and run virtualization on top of virtualization. My goal is not to get a production workload. My goal is to get to a grub screen. Basically, can I get to the installer for a virtual machine? That's the goal, and so we're going to see what happens here. So XCP-ng's got some great documentation. It's dark mode, which makes the sysadmin inside me happy. They've got some graphs and some overview. Like here's what's great. You've got a couple of in their diagram. They've got a couple of servers, XCP-ng running on top. That's your operating system. Um, Exo Lite. Honestly, I didn't look at what a couple of these pieces are, but then you've got Xen Orchestra, which is your management and administration backup and network management piece. And if you're joining me live, really appreciate it. Just kind of goofing around today with XCP-ng, and we're going to see if we can break virtualization. um, so, comparing VMware to Vates. Uh, Vates is a small but growing company. They've got some really cool ideas. They've got some amazing people, and as you all know, I love to meet people. I love to engage with folks in the community. And then Vates is the company behind that. So they provide enterprise support. They provide higher level features, all of that kind of stuff for their customers. Um, so I would love to go to XCP-ng. I would love to have maybe a NUC style cluster here in my apartment, something that I could pull all these, something that I could get away from, something I could use to get away from Proxmox and my co-located data center subscription, that kind of thing. So that's kind of something I'm looking at today: is can XCP-ng as a standalone host run my network? So, all right, I've rambled on enough. Um, Notifications are muted. Screen is shared. Let's do this. Let's create a virtual machine. So, IT guy, dev. We'll call this XCP01, and we'll click next. So I went ahead and ahead of the stream, downloaded the latest ISO here. That's 600 some odd meg that we don't want to watch me download or import, and then import into Proxmox. So I've already got that. I want to leave all this the same. I might go ahead and enable the QEMU agent just because it is enterprise Linux based, so it should be pretty easy to get some virtualization monitoring going. Uh, One thing I did note in doing some research was that I probably see we'll get to CPU in here in a second. We'll probably want to change a couple of settings just because we are going to try and run um, virtual machines inside virtual machines. Um, I want this to be self-contained, and it's not going to last all that long. So I'm going to go ahead and do something crazy and give it 128 gigs of storage. CPU, let's see, it should be option to give it a host and give it access. We may have to change that after the fact. Oh, there it is, host, all the way at the bottom. That's an interesting place for it. Um, Again, we've got plenty of space. So let's give it 8 cores. Okay, so there's only 4 sockets on my machine, so we'll give it 8 cores because let's do a 4x4. Why not? We'll give it 16 cores. This thing will only live for a little while. Let's see. Let's give it 16 gigs of RAM. So 1024. So 16,384. 16,384. That's probably more than we'll need, but my machine can handle it. I don't have that much running right now. So with my setup, my network bridge is on VMware 1. Okay. And then let's go ahead and start this bad boy. Let's see what happens. I love breaking things. Okay, there's machine 104. Let's go ahead and open up the console. Press the enter key. Oh, hopefully it's going to go to the installer. Loading install.img. Okay, so we're going to let this run here. In case you didn't know, and in case you just happened to stumble upon this, I also host the IT Guy Show, which is kind of a curmudgeon-y old sysadmins look at the industry, about technology, and where things are going. I put out a new episode about every other week. It's going to be a little bit delayed this month just because I'll be at Southeast Linux Fest here in a few days. So didn't quite have enough time to put a new episode together. But I also am one of the hosts for the Fedora podcast. And as of today, Tuesday, June 9th, the day of recording, actually just released a new episode of the Fedora podcast. So go check that out over at fedoraproject.org. It's what we call vamping because it takes a while to install the things. I might have to upgrade my Restream subscription to 1080p instead of 720. It's because these screens can get a little hard to read at times. If you have any questions, I am keeping an eye on chat here. You might see me look off screen every now and then, but that's just because I'm looking to see if there's anything in chat. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in there. Okay, so version 8.3, I think it was 7. Something when I first used it. So that's good to know. Restore blah, blah, blah to load a device driver. We should be fine, so we'll just hit OK. Sure, take my soul and my firstborn, that's fine. Is now deprecated. You can still install. Oh, I didn't change that over to EFI, but this is only a test. We'll just roll with it for today. Deprecated doesn't mean can't use it. Yeah, let's use our 128 gig disk. Same disk. We'll do ext so we can get some thin provisioning out of this bad boy. Local media. Yeah, let's search for that repository. Let's do this. We don't need verification. Give it my super secret password, the one I couldn't type while I was talking a minute ago. Definitely want IPv4. This is DHCP, should pick that up from the host, shouldn't be a problem. Host name configuration, yeah, we'll go ahead and ITG dev, what'd I say, XCP-01? Hey, XCP-01, there we go. Boom. We are not in Africa. It's not the last time I checked. Let's see, Chicago was the closest, I think. Use DHCP. All right, yeah. Let's install this bad boy. All right, we're going to let that run here for a minute. Yeah, that feels about as easy as it was before. Meanwhile, I'm going to grab the link to this stream here, and we'll see if we can't get a nice little discussion going. %. This is checking right along. I love it. %, getting close. Completing installation. It's going to be done with the install before I'm done with my social post. Completing installation. Now, as an aside, Vates and the Xen Orchestra community here have done this right. This is cool. They're on Mastodon, and Vates, Xen Orchestra, and XCP-ng are all on their own instance of Mattermost at social.vates.tech. That is how federated social media is supposed to work. They've got this figured out. I'm so excited. All right, I got that social post out. Should have written that ahead of time, but that would have been smart and clever of me. But hey, we got the post out, the install's almost done, and then we can start playing around. Still completing the installation, but hey, we're looking pretty here. Yeah, that install wizard was incredibly intuitive. It just worked. Boom, 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 done. All right, so because I'm about to do a lot more talking and because it's allergy season, I want to grab a cough drop real quick. So what's funny is the completing installation part is taking longer than the installation. So over the past year or so, I've replaced my Thunderbolt dock, USB cable, and my webcam, and I still get this weird flicker. I've tried Firefox, I've tried Chrome. I'm not sure why the camera flickers. It's quite annoying, actually. It says it's working, and to please wait. Well, we're waiting. While that's going along, let's find the IP address because we're probably going to need to redirect a port. The problem is that Proxmox can't see it. Because the agent isn't installed yet. So this is OpenSense. If you're not familiar, this is currently running as my router inside of my co-located data center space. And we're probably going to want need a firewall rule and probably a NAT rule. There we go. So we've got things like Valheim and Plex and whatnot running. So it looks like, according to the documentation, that we'll just need to go to the IP address of the system that we don't know what it is yet. And it's still sitting at 44%. Hopefully that's not hung. I'm starting to think it might be. Actually, we may route this through Nginx instead, since it's HTTP. I'm kind of worried that it's hung. And that can't tell me what the IP is either. I think I'm going to have to reboot and retry. Oh. There it went to 48%. So, no, now we're going to be done. Isn't that how it always works? I was literally about to click the reboot button. Just needed a little bit of motivation. All right, so let's go ahead and no physical media. And I want console. We're rebooting. Trying to decide which should be easier. Try and just go through the existing rules and tie it into Nginx, probably. It's either that or I have to somehow create a NAT rule that says if it's bound for this port, go here. If it's, unless I can easily change what port it's on, we'll have to see. Again, keep in mind we're running a virtual hypervisor. We're running a VM hypervisor inside of a VM on Proxmox, so that's part of the reason why we're seeing such terrible performance. This has nothing to do with XCP-ng being good or bad. I'm actually surprised that it went well, or that the install actually completed. So we're just kind of chilling, like a villain. There we go. No network configured. Interesting. Well, let's fix that. Why are you not connected? So probably the reason why it's squawking at us so much about DHCP is since this is a virtual machine host, it should probably be static. If this were in production, I would most likely grab whatever DHCP address that OpenSense gives me, and then set that as a static. That way is always for this device. Okay, so we're .148 is our IP address. DNS servers, network time, all that looks about right. Okay. And what's nice is, so this is called XO Lite. This is kind of what it comes out of the box running, if I read the documentation correctly. You don't have any resource pools or anything just yet. Okay. All right, so now we got to figure out how to get to 192.168.1.148. Let me think. Yeah, I think probably our best bet is to go through Nginx, because I've already got a reverse proxy set up. But I didn't think about that, so what I need to do is log into my node here. Just a second while I move some things around here. I'm gonna hide that and show that. Okay, so here's my Bastion host. It's running Fedora 44, I believe. Yep. And so what I'm going to do from here is this SSH over to web. I've got an SSH key for the Ansible user. So I want to jump over here and I'm going to go var lib containers swag. I'm using a Linux server.io container image with swag in it that's got Nginx reverse proxy, fail to ban, that kind of thing. So I got to remember where it's at because it's been a while since I've added it or removed anything from it. So it's under site comps. Not default. And that isn't the directory I want. It must be under etc. Oh, that's Let's Encrypt. See, like I said, been a while since I've done this. It's not DNS. It's got to be under Nginx. It must just be a different proxy comps. There it is. Yay. Yep, there it is. Cool. So let's do Nginx, proxy comps. So it gives us just a ton of pre-built, options here. I'm trying to think, so I've got a website or something that would serve as a really good option. Actually, this actual server might be the way to go. Oh, if Neil Gompa were here, he'd laugh at me for being on yet another live stream fighting with Nginx. Trying to think what I have that's running. Actually, I think Foundry was one that I wrote myself. It may actually be okay. We may just because most of this is commented out. We'll just take it and we'll copy it. And let's do zen.subdomain.conf. And we'll do sudo vim. And that's, while we're doing that, something that we need to do is go to Namecheap, where my DNS records are stored, because we're going to need to get that set up here pretty quick. Let's go into Manage, Advanced DNS. I'm going to add a new record, a new CNAME, and it's going to be what I call it, Xen. itguyeric.com. And we're going to give this timeout of 1 minute. So we want that to populate pretty quick. Okay, now what we can do. While DNS is populating here, we want it to listen on port 80. Server name should be Xen. Client body size, that shouldn't change any. Location, all that's commented out. Include. We want port 80, HTTP, and what I say, 148? Is that what I said? This is probably easier than setting up 148. Okay. Compose down. I think there's a refresh or some kind of command built into Swag, but I don't remember what it is. But so we'll just restart the container. Of course, I just took down my production website at the same time, but hey. Okay, now that may be working, we're about to find out now, aren't we? HTTP, let's do zen.itguyeric.com. That's what I was afraid of. Okay. So we're going to use the NS lookup tool to see if DNS has actually propagated, which I forgot. The NS lookup tool comes out of the NS lookup package, so we're going to install that real quick. Oh, bind. Jeez. Actually, I may have it here on my Mac. Okay, yeah. Let's do xen.itguieric.com. That looks like my IP address. So I don't want to install the bind package on this server. Okay. Let me think. Firewall, NAT. I shouldn't need anything because it's just going over. It's going. So it should just hit my swag instance because trying to hit port 80. Shouldn't have to specify. I think. Let's see. So NAT shouldn't be blocking it. I shouldn't need a specific rule. It should just be going to Nginx. Yeah, so anything that hits OpenSense on port 80 just gets redirected HTTP. Nginx, do vim, swag, Nginx, proxy comps, zen.subdomain.conf, port 80. Oh, we may not want SSL though. That may be what it is right there. And of course I didn't. Keep in mind, the problems we have had are not because of XCP-ng. We may not want SSL there. Server name Xen dots include SSL. Let's get rid of you here because I don't think there's any SSL going on there. Proxy resolver 148 port 80 HTTP. If this doesn't work, we can try from my Fedora box and see if that fixes things. We'll restart the container again. Those of you that are watching this ridiculousness live, really appreciate it. Glad to have you aboard. If you want, put any questions or comments you might have in the chat. Okay. So we got that going. Let's see if that fixes it. There it is. It was the SSL. We didn't need SSL for port 80. Cool. All right. So privacy area. Oh, that's not what we wanted. That's my website. Progress, though, right? Okay, so why is... Okay, tell you what. There's something going on there that I'm not thinking about. Let's get back on topic, shall we? Let's try... It's probably because my website pulls in traffic for port 80 and 443. So what we'd probably need to do for the web console for Xen is change the port. But I could be wrong on that. But what we're going to do here is So what we'll do here is we'll do HTTP 192.168.1.148, did I say? Advanced. Proceed. Yep, see, XO Lite. And then we'll put in my password here. Actually, what I can do here to give us a little bit more screen real estate. What I'll do here is I'll share an RDP window. Let's see, and let's give us better screen resolution here. At 1280. How about we do some 1080p action on this bad boy? Yes. It doesn't feel right, but we'll go with it. It helps at least. So we've got local host. We can see how many VMs we have, how many hosts we have. We can see what RAM usage we're using. I mean, so far this is cleaner and nicer, I think, than Proxmox, and definitely better than. So we don't have alarms or stats yet. Just kind of skim through the different menus here before we see if we can deploy a VM. Tasks, hosts, VMs, all the usual things you would expect. Start, stop, suspend. If we had another host, we could probably migrate. We don't have any VMs to copy right now. Oh, edit config coming soon. I like to see new features coming. That's always fun. Okay. So one of the things that's cool is there's an even better we're going to go ahead and remove that real quick here before okay, we'll figure out what went wrong if I ever deploy this full time. So what I want to do is go back to Coulson here, and I want to do an SSH to root at ITG dev XCP-01. Yes, I do know my password, although I think I mistyped it. Nope, I didn't. Okay. This tuned for performance and reliability, configuration changes, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So looks like even through an SSH pipe, we can get to that. Yep, there it is. Very nice. Awesome. So we can get to that from here if we want. Funny, I have to put my password back in when that's where I came from, but okay. All right, so the next thing I want to do here is I want to take this command out of their documentation here. We're going to see if we can deploy Xen Orchestra via XOA. That's their management appliance. So we want to use DHCP. No custom NTP servers. XOA account will now be enabled. This might take a while. Okay, so what it's doing is XOA runs on a very, very tiny VM on top of your host. And what that does is it allows you to move that VM from one host to another, so that if you have to reboot something, you can still, if you have to reboot one of the hosts, you still have access to manage your cluster. So it's a little bit overkill for what we're doing today, but no biggie. We're just poking around with things here. I'm not dying, I swear. So what it's doing in the background is it's downloading a virtual machine that will start running on our. In fact, if we jump back over here, you can actually see that XOA has started running. It's got 4 gigs of RAM, 20 gigs of storage. Wonder if we can see the console yet. VMware or VM is currently shut down. I'm actually surprised that it hasn't blown up yet. No, VMs on top of VMs. Next thing you know, we'll have cats and dogs living together. This might take a while. If you are watching live, feel free to throw a comment in the chat. Tell me what you're up to or what you're avoiding while watching me goof around. I mean, so far I like this. I get lost in VMware anymore. But also, I mean, Proxmox is great. It's Proxmox has done very well for me, but it's just every now and then you run into something that doesn't quite work, and I have to go dig around online looking for an Ubuntu solution. This may take a while. This is just like the heart of everything that I've done for my career. Just systems administration work. Just I won't forget in 2007 or so, my first paid IT job, watching VMware live migrate a virtual machine from one physical host to the other. We had a ping going in a command line, and It was the craziest thing. This live virtual machine with live data coming to and from it, being moved from one physical host to another across the network, never dropped a single packet. And since then, I've loved infrastructure so much. Love virtual machines. Love setting up operating systems. Love building automation. It's so great. I love this part of the industry. This may take a while. They did not lie about that. Again, this is not a reflection on XCP-ng, Vates, or Xen Orchestra. This is a virtual machine This is a virtual machine hypervisor running inside of a virtual machine. So yeah, and I've only got a 1 gig pipe into my colo, so there's lots going on here. But I mean, wouldn't this be so cool? Have three Intel NUCs or some equivalent. Just throw it in my closet over here, running an XCP-ng virtual machine cluster, spinning up and tearing down my virtual machines, making sure that my production like website and Valheim and all those servers are running. Oh, it'd be great. It's still shut down, but it's still thinking. It's still taking a while. But I mean, less than an hour we've been talking. We've had some goofy issues. I mean, we're doing pretty well. Not bad for just under an hour's worth of work. And this is my first time in like 2 or 3 years of deploying it, so okay, so I do have a work thing I need to take care of here while this is running. So if I'm a little silent for a minute, I do apologize. but but I do have an event this weekend, and I need to get this taken care of here. And so what's cool is Restream actually has some music. So I'll give you some hold music while I. And they weren't kidding. It is taking a while. Yeah, not a reflection on XCP-ng. This is a weird setup. I got a meeting in about 20 minutes, so we may not make it all the way. I might have to pick the stream up again later. But while that's running, maybe we can at least get a virtual machine up and going. Let's see if we can. So we're deploying XOA at the time. It didn't say anything about not being able to do other things. Now let's see, migrate, copy, edit, config. Am I blind, or is there not a big button that says, wait a minute, VPN? Oh, that's from the browser. Hi, Mozilla. Do I not, am I blind, or is there not a big button that says new VM here? Unless this is kind of a read-only situation. Localhost, system, network tasks, VMs. You would think add filter, add sort. Do I need to do that at the pool level, maybe? Oh, there it is. Okay, so you have to do it at the pool level. Pick a template. Yeah, see, I remember this from before. They give you a whole bunch of pre-configured settings here. It doesn't look like 10's been added, but I've got a lot of the others here. And they even have sent to us, that should be sent to us Linux 7, but we'll do stream. So why not? Uh-oh. I don't have an ISO. Oh, they have guest tools. That's good. Let's do XCP dev stream 09. So you can give it an affinity host, affinity, not infinity, affinity. So it prefers a particular, we'll do 2 vCPUs and 4 gigs of RAM. Typical network. I'll give it 16 here just in case, because I think CentOS, I think Enterprise Linux is typically about 9 gigs or so. At least that's what a lot of the okay, so something I need to do first is figure out where to upload an ISO. So we need to do that first. Now the question becomes, where do we upload said ISO to? Just see storage is grayed out, and this one doesn't have storage. This is probably easier to find in XOA, but it's still thinking. This would probably be easier if I just read the documentation. Let's see, compared to VMware, managing. Backups, community videos. Okay, so how about virtual machines? Guest tools, dynamic memory, secure boot, VNC clients. How about ISOs? Where do I upload ISOs to? Again, we're using XOA, which is bare bones, like cockpit level. Uh, needs to be placed in an ISO storage repository. There are several types available. Feel free to browse through this post from Xen Orchestra. Yeah, so it wants us to do this in Xen Orchestra, which we've been waiting on, and it says it might take a while. And we've been waiting. Ooh, I didn't want to click that. Oh, well, it's good to know that they have a graphical version of what we were just doing. Although the funny thing is, why can't we just put in a URL? That'd be kind of nice. DVD drive? No, it doesn't let me. That would have been nice. I'm still waiting on the XOA VM. Oh, and you haven't been seeing anything that I've been doing. Let's try this again here. XCP. Oh. Again, if we were on dedicated hardware, this would probably not even be a thing. And did they put it under media? Under var, maybe? And once again, you can't see what I'm doing. Oh, where did they hide the ISO directory? Maybe in XenSource? We could do a find, but it'd have to search the entire virtual machine, and you know. So yeah, the documentation says we need to be doing this from Xen Orchestra. Well, what do you know? They talk about nested virtualization here. That's funny. VMware Workstation, Hyper-V, QEMU. Well, what do you know? We could have followed this, and they already knew some crazy sysadmin like myself would play around with this. I don't know. We may have reached an end. I don't think the guest tools ISO information would tell us where that directory is, so I could just SCP it. I don't know why I'm skimming the whole article when they have this lovely table of contents over here. Let's check out storage. Yeah, see, this looks familiar, but that's Xen Orchestra, and we don't have that running yet. Optvar ISO repository, so you can actually create your own ISO repositories. Let's see if we can't run this command. Let's see if that'll get us there. Because it's still taking a while. Required -o along with... Okay, so -o along with XE mount ISO SR. Syntax error. SR create. Name label. ISO repo. And autocomplete stopped working, so something's not right. ISO device config. Device config. Let's try what out var ISO repository. ISO SR name. Syntax error still. Yeah, I think we're kind of stuck until so there's something out of date about their documentation because it needs. Oh, I didn't catch all that. Maybe that's why. So there's a lot more to that command. Let's try this. Hey. Now that we've got that going. Let's try opt var ISO repository. I didn't want to LL. There's nothing in it. Let's go to it. Do I have wget? I do have wget. Let's see if we can't. So off screen here, I'm going to CentOS stream download Go to download here, and then try and grab. Oh, let me grab the download URL. Let's do that. No, I didn't want the mirror list. I wanted the actual. Da, 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 da. There we go. There's the actual download URL. Let's do a wget on the ISO. There we go. We don't need no stinking XOA. Of course, it says it's going to take 25 hours. And getting worse. All right. Well, we're down to 23 hours. Now, my next call is in 4 minutes. So unfortunately, we're going to have to I have to put a pin in this here. That's sent to us. Wonder if XOA was actually supposed to be started. We'll cancel that. We'll delete. Oh, it did delete. There we go. Let's try and kick this off from in here. Local storage. DHCP. Login. All right, we'll let this run, and maybe tonight I'll come back and do a little bit more. But hey, we had some fun, right? We're also trying to run a virtual machine hypervisor inside of a virtual machine. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to try and do another one of these tomorrow. We'll see if I have time, because then Thursday I'm out of town for Southeast Linux Fest. So if you're going to be at the event, please feel free to stop by and say hello. Would love to see folks. Yeah, until then, this was XCP-ng. Again, it's great software. It really is. Just don't try and run it don't try and run a virtual machine hypervisor on top of a virtual machine hypervisor. It doesn't always work well, but maybe we'll check in on this a little bit later. Until then, make sure you like and subscribe. Please leave a comment if you enjoyed this. It's just me kind of goofing around in the middle of the day. But anyway, appreciate you all tuning in, and look forward to talking to you all again real soon.